We have a little bit of you on The View because I love this moment. You're battling about Colin Kaepernick. And unlike the ladies of The View, you actually knew what you were talking about. Like they messed with the wrong person. They're used to having some shill on there who's like, well, I don't believe in kneeling. And you were like, and whatever. You were like, let's go. I've got my facts. And here's just a little bit of that. This is SOT 5.
But the white owners have prevented him from doing it. They've colluded and they have the power they have all the power to prevent him from doing the one thing that he loves.
If they
That's
believed
the power
he
dynamic.
could win them a Super Bowl, he would be on a team right now. I promise you that. I promise you that.
I think, and he lost everything because of the stand that he took. And there is no owner in the NFL to this day that has the courage to take him back.
A lot of teams have tried him out. I will tell you that. I know my stuff, too, on this. A lot of teams have tried him out, and he didn't lose everything. In fact, I would say he's gained a whole lot. He is now a leader of a movement. He's got a Netflix series. He's got Nike endorsements.
He lost the one thing he wants to do.
Well, you know, I don't get to do what I want to do either. And sometimes life just ain't fair, and it's not. I think we can all of us can agree that there's probably a lot to this story we still don't know.
I'm not sure.
You're all going to groan at me. Sure. Okay, bring it on.
Sure.
Bring
People
it on.
feel
That's
like
the view, honey.
So this is the moment at which you lost your potential role co-hosting The View because you made everyone look dumb.
Well, look, it was disheartening because as much as they were saying, he lost the one thing he wants to do with his life. Well, look, is everyone in America entitled to do the one thing that they want to do with their life if that's becoming the starting quarterback for an NFL team? Right. No. There are 32 guys out there who get that job, and it's for a whole lot of reasons, and it's not just whether or not they can throw a football down the field. Look, Colin Kaepernick, they settled his lawsuit. The guy that was in on it with him, Eric Reed, they settled with him too. He's still playing in the NFL, Eric Reed. So to suggest that, Colin lost out and he's never going to play again. Well, Colin made a lot of decisions he did a tryout. He said, come look at me throw, everyone. I'm going to do this throwing demonstration. You can all come scout me. And then at the last minute, he moved the site of that. Now they'll say, well, because he didn't want cameras there. Well, these are decisions you have to make. What is it you really want? Do you not want cameras there? Or do you really want a legit shot at getting back into the NFL? Which is it that you want? And you make those decisions. And sometimes the way to getting where you want to go is making some compromises. I love the story of Amelia Earhart. And the first time she was asked to get in a plane and become the first woman to help fly a plane, it was as the navigator, not as the pilot. It was as the co-pilot. And she could have been offended and said, no, it's either all me or nothing. Well, she didn't. She said, this is an opportunity. I'm going to do it. She did it. And now she's a household name and, sadly for terrible reasons. But the point is she saw her path. You can't have everything your way in this life. You work your way around and through the obstacles. If he really, really wanted, the one thing he wanted, Megyn, in this life was to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, he'd be one right now. And, given that he had the talent. But he made some business decisions and they didn't necessarily, and I think he knew what he was risking. And I think that there are legitimate complaints about race in the NFL and everywhere else in America, but that's not why Colin Kaepernick's not in the NFL.
It does make you think, like, if Tom Brady took some controversial stance on something before he retired, they would still hire him. I mean, like, talent in the end wins out because they're capitalists. They want to make money off of you. They want a winning team.
It's exactly right. And they'll spend a fortune to do it. And just ask the highest paid athletes in the NFL. It is about winning. But I do know for a fact that teams talk to Colin Kaepernick. They talked to him because really at that point in his career, backup was the only position that was available to him for a number of reasons. He was a good quarterback. He had a really good season the year they went to the Super Bowl. He was not Tom Brady. He was not Matthew Stafford. He was not those guys. Trust me, I think if he had that kind of talent, he would have found his way onto a roster, because you're right, they want to win. But he also made that decision. He made that decision that if I'm going to any team, all of this is coming along with me. If, I've got to be able to do and say what I want. And even if I'm a backup quarterback, I'm still going to, do and say what I want and maybe bring this along with me. And I'll tell you this as well. Teams don't necessarily want to bring all of that with you unless you're Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
Aaron Rodgers, so
it's not the same as like discriminating against him because he stood up against racism. It's
correct. Are
you going to be like a political activist looking to capitalize on every wrong move a coach makes, a player makes, a fan makes? Like I can relate to this in a way. I mean, when I, got involved in I was sort of drafted into the Me Too movement in a way. It was never something I wanted to be affiliated with. It was like, right. I'm going to do the next right thing. And before you know it, that led to a whole cascade of things happening. But right. My point was, I didn't want to be affiliated with any movement. I don't really like activism. It's not my thing. But I understood in not backing Roger Ailes, I could never work again. It was possible that I would never work again because all of our companies, for the most part, are run by men. And, maybe they would look at me and say, she's not loyal to the men who run these companies. And therefore, I don't want. So you make your own decisions, right? That wouldn't have been illegal for somebody to do that to me, to say, right. she's a headache. She might turn on me. I get it. And by the way, if you're a shitbag, I might. That's why I don't have a boss now.
And isn't that a beautiful thing? I mean, that's
but we
awesome.
all make our own choices.
Choices, and you just put it so well. I don't know that there's a whole lot more I can add to that, but you are spot on. That every player in the NFL comes with a set, and there have been plenty of players speaking out against racism, which is a welcome thing to see and hear. But they've done it in a way that hasn't been detrimental to their team.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.